Imagine hearing a voice from your childhood. Not a photograph, not a face, just one sound. And suddenly someone you have not seen for years feels close again. Now imagine that happening underwater, across miles of dark ocean. Could a whale hear an old call after years apart and know exactly who made it? At first that sounds impossible. Whales travel enormous distances. They disappear beneath waves for months. Some cross entire oceans. Their lives can look lonely from above. But below the surface, many whales live inside social worlds we are only beginning to understand. They have families, traditions, vocal habits, and long relationships. So the question is not really whether whales have memory. They clearly do. The harder question is more personal. Can they remember each other? And if they can, what exactly are they remembering? A face, a smell, a voice, or something stranger than all three? Humans are obsessed with faces. We assume recognition begins with eyes. You see someone across a room. Their expression, walk, and posture pull a memory from your brain. But the ocean is not built for that. Water bends light. Depth swallows color. At night, vision becomes nearly useless. For many whales, sound carries farther than sight ever could. A call can travel through darkness. Sometimes it can travel for miles. For certain species, it may travel much farther. So an ocean friendship may not begin with a look. It may begin with a sound. A click pattern, a whistle, a pulsed cry, a rhythm that says, in the only language available down there, I am here, and perhaps I am still me. The clearest evidence comes from dolphins, which are close whale relatives. Bottlenose dolphins create something scientists call signature whistles. Think of them as vocal labels, not quite names in the human sense, but close enough to make the idea feel unsettling. Each dolphin develops a distinctive whistle pattern. Other dolphins can learn it. They can use that sound to call a particular individual. Not just any dolphin, that dolphin. Studies suggest dolphins remember these whistles for astonishingly long periods. In one well-known study, dolphins recognized familiar signature whistles after more than 2 decades apart. 20 years, no daily reunion, no social media, no photographs, just memory held inside a sound. When researchers played recordings, dolphins responded more strongly to whistles from former companions. They did not react the same way to unfamiliar whistles. That does not prove dolphins think, that is my old friend from childhood. We cannot know their private thoughts, but behavioral evidence points to something remarkable. The sound still mattered. It still belonged to someone. And that changes how we should picture the ocean. Because dolphins are not alone in using complex vocal identities. Many whales also live in worlds shaped by sound. Take killer whales. They are often called orcas. They are technically the largest members of the dolphin family, and their social lives can be intensely stable. A young killer whale may stay with its mother for decades. Some remain with their maternal family for life. That means recognition is not a rare event. It is the foundation of everyday existence. Killer whale families also have distinctive calls. Different groups can sound different. Scientists call these group-specific vocal patterns dialects. A pod may share calls that identify its social world, like an accent, or a family laugh, or a phrase only your relatives say. These calls are learned. That matters. A learned sound carries history. It tells you who you grew up beside, who you traveled with, who hunted near you, who answered when you called. Now picture an orca hearing an old family call after years apart. No experiment can fully read its mind, but its brain would not be hearing random noise. It would be hearing part of a social map, a map built over a lifetime. And maps like that are hard to erase. Sperm whales make the mystery even deeper. They live in a world of clicking. Their clicks can help them find prey in black water. But some click patterns do something more social. They are called codas. Codas are short sequences of clicks. Different sperm whale groups use different patterns. A group may have a distinctive rhythm. Click, click, pause, click. Another group may use something else. These patterns can spread socially. Young whales appear to learn them from other whales. That makes sperm whale culture feel less like a metaphor and more like a real possibility. A whale may not simply inherit its social identity. It may learn it. It may belong to a vocal tradition. Scientists have identified large sperm whale clans with shared coda styles. These clans can include whales who never meet directly. Still, they may recognize the sound patterns of their wider community. That is a strange idea. An animal in the open ocean may hear a rhythm and know, somehow, that it comes from us. Not family exactly, not necessarily friends, but familiar minds shaped by the same cultural world. So could a sperm whale recognize a specific individual after years apart? The evidence is not as direct as it is for dolphins. That distinction matters. We should not turn a possibility into a fact. But sperm whales form long-term social units. Females and young often travel with familiar companions. They coordinate care. They protect calves. They share dangerous, deep-water lives. A social system like that depends on remembering more than a few random sounds. It likely depends on lasting social knowledge. Maybe not in human words, but in something durable. Something like this individual is safe. This individual is family. This individual belongs near us. Then there are humpback whales. Their songs are famous. They can sound haunting, repetitive, almost alien. Yet humpback songs are not simple personal signatures. They change over time. A song can spread through a population. It can evolve across seasons. It can even sweep across ocean basins. That means a humpback song may tell us more about a whale's community than its identity. Imagine hearing a song everyone in your city suddenly knows. You would recognize the song, but not necessarily the singer. Still, humpback whales may use other sounds for more individual social recognition. They make grunts, cries, moans, and other calls. Mothers and calves also communicate closely. A calf needs to stay near its mother. A mother needs to find her calf. In a noisy ocean, those relationships may depend on subtle sound differences. Researchers are still working out how much individual information lives inside these calls. But there is another clue. Whales often behave differently around familiar animals. They travel together. They coordinate movements. They return to known companions. They form stable associations despite living in a moving world. That kind of social stability suggests recognition. You cannot maintain a relationship without some way of telling individuals apart, unless every whale is interchangeable. And almost everything we have learned suggests they are not. The ocean does not make identity impossible. It makes identity acoustic. But sound is only one part of the story. Whales may also recognize body shape, movement style, breathing rhythm, the pattern of a scarred fin, the way another animal approaches. Humans have habits we barely notice. Some people knock twice before entering. Some laugh silently. Some walk faster when nervous. Animals may have their own versions. A whale's body can carry a history, a particular notch on the tail, a pale patch, a familiar roll before diving. A mother may know her calf's movement before she hears it. A companion may recognize an old travel partner by behavior alone. Scientists call these possibilities individual recognition cues. That phrase sounds cold, but it describes something intimate. It means an animal is not merely seeing a species, it is noticing a someone. And there is one more sense we often forget: smell. Water carries chemical information. Many marine mammals have a reduced sense of smell compared with land animals. But reduced does not mean absent in every species. Chemical cues may still play roles we do not fully understand. Taste may also matter. Whales live in a sensory universe unlike ours. We should be careful before declaring what they can or cannot recognize. Our ignorance is often shaped by our own senses. We look for faces. They may be listening for identities. Here is where the question becomes emotional. What happens when two whales reunite? Do they feel joy? Do they pause? Do they call more loudly? Do they approach with the strange caution of someone checking whether a memory is real? We have seen powerful reunions in other social animals. Elephants can recognize former companions after long separations. Some primates remember old group members. Dolphins remember voices. These examples do not prove whales experience reunion exactly the same way, but they show that long-term social memory is not uniquely human. Memory can survive absence, and absence can mean something. For humans, separation changes relationships. Sometimes time weakens them. Sometimes one tiny detail brings everything back. A smell from an old house, a song from school, a voice saying your name. We tend to think that kind of memory belongs to language, but perhaps language is only one route. Maybe memory begins earlier, with recognition, with the brain deciding that one signal matters more than another, that this sound predicts safety, that this body belongs in your world, that this presence has a history. For a whale, the ocean is not empty blue space. It may be filled with remembered voices. This is especially important because whale communication is under pressure. Ships add constant noise. Sonar can disrupt behavior. Industrial activity changes underwater soundscapes. Even distant engines can blur the signals whales rely on. To us, that noise may seem like background. To an animal using sound for navigation, hunting, family contact, and recognition, it may be much more. Imagine trying to find your family at a crowded station. Now imagine every speaker is blasting machinery. You can see nobody. You cannot use your phone. And the one voice you trust is buried under noise. That is closer to the underwater problem. Noise does not only interrupt a call, it can interrupt a relationship. And when communication becomes harder, social memory becomes harder to use. A whale might remember another whale perfectly, but remembering is not enough. You must still be able to hear them. This is why the question matters beyond curiosity. If whales recognize each other after years apart, then separation has a deeper cost. It is not merely changing where animals live. It may be breaking connections between individuals, a mother and calf, a long-term companion, a family group, a cultural community. Of course, we must stay honest. No scientist can climb inside a whale's mind. We cannot ask a humpback, "Do you miss your old companion?" We cannot ask a sperm whale, "Who taught you that coda?" And we cannot assume every social behavior has a human emotion behind it. But caution should not become dismissal. For a long time, people treated animal behavior as simple instinct. Feed, flee, mate, repeat. That old picture is fading. Not because animals are secretly tiny humans, they are not. It is fading because their lives are more layered than we expected. Some animals track relationships, some learn traditions, some remember individuals, some make choices based on shared history. And whales may be among the most extraordinary examples. They live longer than many humans expect. Some species can survive for many decades. Bowhead whales may live for more than a century. Killer whales can maintain family bonds across most of a lifetime. Sperm whales may travel through deep social networks we barely understand. A long memory is useful in a long life. Knowing where food appeared years ago can matter. Knowing which route is dangerous can matter. Knowing who belongs to your group may matter most of all. Because survival is not always about being strongest. Sometimes it is about being recognized. There is a beautiful possibility here. A whale surfaces after years away. The ocean is vast. The horizon is empty. Then a familiar call arrives through the water. Not a word, not a sentence, just a pattern. A shape made of sound. And somewhere inside that animal's nervous system, an old connection wakes up. Maybe it triggers approach. Maybe it triggers answering. Maybe it changes nothing we can see. But it may still mean everything to the whale. That is the difficult part of studying animal minds. The most important moments may look small from the outside. A turn, a call, a pause, a body moving closer. We want certainty. We want the dramatic answer. Yes, whales remember friends for years. Yes, they feel reunion exactly as we do, but science is usually more careful. The best answer is both less certain and more interesting. Some cetaceans clearly recognize familiar individuals after long separations. Dolphins provide especially strong evidence through remembered signature whistles. Whales show many signs of stable social memory, learned vocal traditions, and lasting relationships. For several whale species, individual recognition after years apart is highly plausible. Yet the exact experience remains hidden beneath the surface. Maybe that hidden part is what makes the question so powerful. A whale does not need human words to have a past. It does not need a photograph to remember someone. It may carry its history in voices, in rhythms, in the familiar shape of another body moving through water. And perhaps, somewhere in the dark ocean, a whale hears an old call. Then it knows. Not everything, not in the way we know, but enough to answer.